Hey people, Stabby here. I got angry at Hunt again.
Fucking hell, man. How many shots has he got in that thing?
So I'm taking my frustrations out on the channel. Therefore, I am subjecting you, my poor viewer, to however long this video is. If I ever end up releasing it, that is.
We're done.
Now I urge you, don't think of yourself as a victim. As a monkey shovels slop into your mouth, and somehow it tastes good. So sit back, relax, and listen to me shamelessly cover a game that better and more qualified people have already reviewed. Let me tell you something.
The hell with this, Shane. I don't got that. Let me tell you something else, man. Hey, Herschel, man, let me ask you something. Let me tell you something, man.
I long for a day where I can say things like, I'm cooking rats, and people would not regress to dictatorial arguments like, that's inhumane, or we have lasagna in the microwave. I long for a world where Walmart shoppers are released, allowed to roam freely in fields of grass and love. I long for a world where war crimes are not only a daily occurrence, I want them hourly. But first, this is not a sponsored video. I don't get those. Thanks to my love for non-conforming things such as national isolation, music, and dystopias. That's why I recommend we all fuck off to places with more job opportunities like Venezuela, who I hear needs a new democratically elected leader. Total War Warhammer 3. It's had its ups. It's had its downs, but more importantly, it gets one DLC a year, because we're still paying for Hyenas. A game that no one asked for, no one cared. In fact, the hype was so minuscule, they axed it straight after releasing the trailer. I'm not making this up. So what is Total War Warhammer? Well, it's a sandbox game where you stab, shoot, slash, and bomb lesser races to further your own goals, committing systematic genocide, accommodating vehicular homicide, where the AI assists you in your geographical rampage by becoming a statistic. So who are the factions in Total War Warhammer 3? Well, to answer that, it runs deeper than culture. Racism, in no particular order. Cafe. What is the life of a young Chinaman? He gets up every morning, praises his divine secret society of leaders, then heads to the fields to plough his crops, while his neighbour ploughs his wife. Naturally, he goes home and sees his son yin-maxing so hard it causes another economic depression. After punishing him, the only way he knows how is up to you to counter his yin with your yang, restoring harmony to your rice paddy. I'm going to tell you a secret. I don't like Cafe. Cafe is a constant balancing game, for which I don't care much for. Balancing your yin and your yang for cities and armies is a constant toll on my diminishing mental faculties, of which I can only blame on the brain rot I consume from Instagram daily. So naturally, I ignore the whole system altogether. And then I look at my economy and make a startling discovery. I'm losing money, so I make the most thought-provoking decisions a young blood like me is capable of. I open a tea parlour, which makes me near to no money because the British have not been invented yet.
Could you defeat the Zulus? I'll be honest, I can't even defeat crackheads at the job centre. What makes you think I can fight the Zulus? I mean, absolutely I can beat the Zulus any day of the week.
Why did I start with what is factually, by my own decree, the worst faction in the game? I don't know. Stop asking questions. Kislev.
Rat shit, bat shit, dirty old twat. 69 assholes, time and a night.
Do you like Russians? Do you like bears? Do you like Russian bears? Kislev is Russia, without all that commie crap. Instead, they're real men and women who brave the harsh winters of Kislev, the relentless Norscan raiders, and are first to be stomped by the demons and chaos invasions. That's why I love them. Most of Kislev troops are hybrid weapons units, meaning they have okay melee stats,
would also get an okay ranged option, allowing them to function uniquely compared to other factions. But don't sit there and think you're overpowered, because you're not the only one vying for the throne of Kislev. With the constant chaos invasions to the north and the constant balancing of the Orthodoxy court, Kislev is far from a safe pick. Oh, and if you pick Katerin, Kostalin just gets completely fucking obliterated every single time.
Have you ever wanted to defile the cylindrical sanctity of a crayon? Have you ever felt possessed to delve deep into where no crayon should go? Well, there's a god for you. Say it with me. Khorne cares not for where the blood flows, but only that it does.
That's exactly how you must play Khorne. Forget about building empires. Forget about managing income. That's pussy shit. We're here to stomp on the necks of anyone in front of us, burn their homes and cities, and then piss off to the next fight. The primary leader of the faction is Skarbrand the Exile. There's like a million videos about his lore, but basically he stabbed his god in the back, which is only a problem because it was dishonourable. So Khorne grabbed Skarbrand, presumably by his head, dragged him up as many flights of stairs as possible in his tallest tower, and then just launched him off. He travelled so fast, his wings burned off, and now all he wants is Khorne's sweet embrace once again. And how do you impress your muscle mummy after she's clearly told you she doesn't want to see you again? Well, of course you burn down the nearest orphanage or two. Maybe kill all the people defending them. And then maybe go to a police station, then a hospital, and a military base, and a school, and you get the idea. On the battle side, Khorne is probably the most friendly to new players, letting them understand different stats and statistics like melee attack, weapon strength, melee attack, speed, melee attack, health, weapon strength, model count, melee attack, and the rest of the stats don't really matter. Khorne does take territory, but it's slow and costly. Once the siege is finished, you have the option to settle, which should only be done once per province due to the skulls cost. You take skulls as trophies, and sometimes you don't even need to kill them yourself. Sometimes other battles happen and you just sort of stumble along like a gruesome treasure hunt. Once you've taken a settlement, every turn there is a chance that your settlement colonizes another broken down settlement within that province. The chance is low, and you could theoretically never colonize, leading to a system where you're relying on RNG and it just fucks you over and over and over. But everyone loves gambling, so stop complaining.
What is a bath? Is not dousing oneself in fluid to rid themselves of filth? Oh, it is? Oh shit. Well, in that case then, I've been doing this whole cleaning thing wrong. Does my script not make much sense? Well, it doesn't matter, because Nurgle is the god of decay, disease, and pretty much anything nasty. His followers are some of the happiest chaps you'll ever meet, due to their inability to feel pain, but their extraordinary ability to dish out pain. This video is already longer than I expected it to be, and we still have 4 more factions, but such is the speed of Nurgle. For all his followers drudge and dredge along, as flesh tears away exposing new mutations and boils, but Nurgle still loves you despite your acne. Because with Nurgle, he gives you the face only a papa could love. His construction and recruitment mechanics are unique, using a system of cylindrical buildings rather than the tower progression. Buildings use a cycle mechanic, which over time feeds into the next cycle. These cycles provide Nurgle armies with new units to recruit, which can be instantly recruited. However, they must replenish their forces, making Nurgle the only faction that must literally grow his armies. The last major mechanic of Nurgle is his plagues. By combining and stringing the effects, we can boost ourselves or handicap our enemies using plague cultists to infect hostile armies and cities, or just by brewing the plague at home.
Most important things to get the most tender steak possible is you just gotta let it sit.
Tzeentch. There is no good campaign. Fuck off.
Эй, долбоеб.
Не мешай, заебал, бля, иди
Я
нахуй,
охуел, что ли,
бля.
сука?
Ай, сука.
Иди сюда, сучка ебаная,
давай?
выебу тебя сейчас. Бля, уебище
Ну-ка.
ебаное, иди сюда нахуй. Ай, бля. Бля. Ау.
Only joking. Let's get this over with. Tzeentch is the god of mischief, magic, pranks, generally being a dick, betrayal and hope. With one hand, he will bless you with ultimate power. With the other, he will put a whoopee cushion on your throne. Tzeentch is all about manipulating magic and people. Ironically, for the Lovecraftian wannabe god, Tzeentch, the factions work very similarly to most others, building up and slowly taking territory. But the Changeling is different, yoinking the Skaven Undercity mechanic and then relying on it a bit too hard. The Changeling dooms or saves the Empire by leeching off of its enemies. Their faction specialises mostly in characters that use magic, although their units also boost their magical prowess. In addition, Chaos Warriors of Tzeentch use magical weapons which allow them to fight better against units with the ethereal trait, and also demons. With a staunch line of Chaos Warriors, backed up by a ranged line of either Flamers of Tzeentch or Pink Horrors of Tzeentch, with heavy flanking cavalry of Tzeentch, such as the Flying Discs or just standard Chaos Knights. Tzeentch can pose quite a formidable force, and surprisingly, it's got a lot of armour as well.
有那种既凶既内的。
我找找，
不行，下一步，
看一下。
哦，好，
看一下，
好，就这个，
不错。
好，就这步，会。
And lastly, there is Slaanesh. More than just sex, drugs, rock and roll, I promise. No, Slaanesh is all about dominance. Across the Chaos Gods, Slaanesh is unique. While all gods can use a cult system that allows you to spread your unique brand of corruption, no one benefits from it quite like Slaanesh. Using cults, you can peacefully subjugate neighbours, turn hostile factions into submissive devotees. The realms of men and elf are particularly vulnerable to this appliance of friendship, giving me another reason as to why dwarves are superior. My favourite part of Slaanesh is preparing factions for invasion, by either subjugating their allies or by infiltrating their territory with cultists, spreading cults and using Slaanesh's unique seduction ability that turns hostile soldiers to perfect gimps, and of course their survival isn't really an expectation. In battle, Slaanesh goes fast and hard, as one would come to expect. Yeah, I spell it that way. Now that I've got you wondering if my humour surpasses that of a 12-year-old, Nikari is the primary lord of Slaanesh's faction, starting in the northern section of Ulthuan. So I begin by seducing the High Elves and flirting with the Dark Elves, who are eventually destroyed, because Alariel is a dick. So now, I'm a single faction, trying to play the long game on an island of people that hate me, which isn't going very well. But I have one final trick. You see, from my cults, I've been harvesting devotees from my enemies and allies alike. It is time for my final trick. With my primary army, I can form a devotee army which can act independently and last for as long as required, so long as I have the upkeep and they are not taking attrition from the lack of Slaanesh corruption. With this, I manage to subjugate Ulthuan.
Conquered all the chippies, I'm never gonna stop. Chips and peas and gravy, I've had the fucking lot. Pepperoni pizza and chicken vindaloo. I'm a big fat bastard, 'cause I love my fucking food. Ale.
Ogres, my lord. Sausages, pies, wine, pork, venison, man flesh, dog, nobbler, dwarf, cow. This
is our menu. Of course, there is a vegetarian option. You could just fuck off. The Ogre Kingdoms are a collection of mercenary kingdoms from different places, often found selling their services, forming enclaves and societies around what they had for breakfast that morning. The Ogre Kingdoms can often be found on important trade lanes such as the Ivory Road, fattening themselves up for extortion and raiding of trade caravans.
Grace us, the shockingly obese.
It's not just the ogres you must fear though, but the cunning, submissive Noblars. Looking like the fantasy depiction of one of my friends and, well, acting like it. Noblars are the companions, or more like slaves to the ogres, acting as feeders to their obese oppressors, and when they are not feeding or being fed to the ogres, they are being used as cannon fodder to pin down enemy units so the might of the ogres can be used to charge down their enemies. What makes the ogres unique is that while they do take and hold territory, it's not their primary source of both income and recruitment. Behold, the camp system. Kinda shit, but it's better than nothing. Rather than spending gold, you spend meat, a universal resource collected through one source: violence. Chaos Dwarves. You will not find a more elite race in this game, perhaps the most sophisticated race in all of Total War Warhammer history. Managing multiple resources such as gold, materials, armaments, and conclave influence. Managing these resources is vital to success, as higher tier units beyond green-skinned labourers are locked behind a cost of armaments. Not to mention, despite being some of the strongest units in their field, the Chaos Dwarves suffer from positioning. To the north are the lands of Norsca and Chaos, who do not seem content with attacking weak southerners. To the east, the Ogre Kingdoms, as well as Grimgor Ironheart.
Have you then? I'll hear what you say, so I can shove the words right back down your throat.
To the south is Undead, Elves and Nurgle. This is probably by far the easiest start in my eyes. And to the west, Dwarves, Humans, Orcs and pretty much everything else. To assist the Chaos Dwarves in their infernal conquest and capitalist expansion, they use labourers. These labourers work the mines, harvesting raw materials for later use as upgrades to buildings or production into armaments. Armaments themselves are forged in factories. These are what allow you to increase the number of troops you may use. Conclave influence is used for two things: settlement of capitals, in which, similar to the Skaven mechanic, you can settle or conquer capital settlements at a higher tier, and the other use is for the Tower of Zar. Here you can spend influence on a variety of buffs and summons. On the battlefield, labourers will be the bulk of your armies, at least at the start, until you gather more armaments. These labourers are skittish and weak, and they serve a purpose. They take hits so the real meat can get stuck in. The dwarves employ a variety of tactics, ranging from simple armoured dwarves to rocket artillery to great demons trapped in machinery, faceless, shamed warriors, monstrous beasts, and finally, laser weaponry. Well, as close as Total War Warhammer, the fantasy version, we'll get to laser weapon. I'm not very good with the Chaos Dwarves, and this is going to affect my final verdict on them. They are my second favourite race in Total War Warhammer 3. Nothing will ever come close to how you make me feel. And that's the major races within Total War Warhammer 3. I didn't cover every race and faction because there's so many actually in the game that it would take multiple videos. And I didn't mention every mechanic like the convoy system for the Chaos Dwarves because CIA rehashes a lot of features. And I believe some surprises would be nice for a new player. I also didn't cover every DLC like the Warriors of Chaos, but there is plenty of videos that do this. From YouTubers that specialise actually in this game. I suggest looking some of them up if you're interested. I'm more thought to make this video as like a quick lean in and not really a guide, but just a quick jump into the game, and it sort of just evolved into talking about each race individually. I'm gonna ask if you made it
this far, to give the video a like, a comment, and if you want, a share to someone who's never heard of the game. Could never hurt. And it helps me out as well. I've actually just seen that I'm actually allowed to start earning money from YouTube, which would be amazing. So I'm on that road to slowly build up. And I hope you enjoyed. If you want to see more stuff like this, let me know.
They tell me that I'm never gonna make it. They want me to do something that could make sense. They hate when I keep dreaming I'll be famous, but I don't give a fuck, I'ma keep chasing.